Welcome back, YouTube, to another episode of All Things Nerdy, where we bring you all things nerdy. Now, for today, we're going to be talking about some tabletop gaming. Yes, tabletop gaming. That means Dungeons and Dragons, Pathfinder, all sorts of different types of games. But we're going to try and bring you some footage of actual games, as well as try and clear up some misconceptions I think a lot of people have. Biggest thing, I've been DMing for about 6 months, not very long at all. But when I nerd out on something, I nerd out hard, I research, I immerse myself. So I've done a lot of learning over these past 6 months, maybe a little bit. I know it'll be a year this October, so we're getting close to it at least. But like I said, when I nerd out on something, I gotta read it. I have to understand everything there is to know about it, as well as get as much experience as I can, as quickly as I can. So, been playing with a live group myself. We have one DM. He's been teaching me a lot of things as far as DMing goes, as well as being a player. And then I DM our other game going on. So the biggest misconception I think a lot of people have with tabletop gaming and Dungeons and Dragons, Pathfinder, whatever game you're playing is you're just quintessential nerd. You know, that's too low. You can't sink that far. Why? There's nothing wrong with it. This is no different than Skyrim or any other RPG you guys have played out there. This is video games before video games were video games. You know, before that you had a paper like this, and you had dice like this to determine how things happened. So I think this just built up a bad stigma. And now nobody wants to get into it because they don't want, I'm a Dungeons and Dragons player. Me, myself, I've been playing Pathfinder. It's just the most streamlined game out there, in my opinion. Probably, if I'm wrong, let me know in the comment section below. It seems to be the most streamlined, at least. So, with that, let's go ahead and talk about a little bit of character sheets. You know, again, before everything was a video game, you had this. You know, this is Skyrim. If I wanted to, if I was running the game and I wanted to set up all of Skyrim in a tabletop form, I could do that. Nothing says I can't. The biggest thing I think I like about it is the social gathering. You know, with a video game, yeah, you talk to people online, you hear them through a microphone, but there's still a barrier there. With tabletop gaming, there's not that barrier. You know, I'm sitting around a table full of friends, or snacking down on some Doritos maybe, and drinking some Mountain Dew, but we're having a good time, we're joking around, we're doing cool things, and we're, oh man, did you see what you just did? That was so cool. You know, we might rag on each other too, but we still have a good time because we're socializing together about a game. You know, so let's go ahead and take a look here. And like I told you, everyone, in a couple other videos here, we've been working on trying to bring you some live footage of things. So this is my new camera. We're still working on it. There's some bugs with the camera. I bought a refurbished. That was my mistake, thinking I'll save some money on this. But anyway, so yeah, first thing you have here is, well, you have a handful of dice, and it can be very confusing here. You have a lot of numbers to keep a hold of. You have a whole bunch of different dice. You know, here's probably the most commonly known as 6-sided dice. But then you have all these weird looking ones. You know, what do you do with all these? Well, that's what we're going to talk a little bit about. It's not going to be a very long video, just a quick overview. We might try and record a game session tomorrow just to give you a little taste of what is tabletop gaming. So, first thing you have here is you have a character sheet. Every game you've ever played has a character sheet. It might be designed differently, but you have a character sheet. Skyrim has a character sheet. You know, so you have your name here at the top. You figure out a name that you want to name a character. When creating a character for an RPG, I advise first think of who the character is going to be, your persona, you know, and then name. After that, you can start thinking of all the other things, abilities, skills, and whatnot. But you need to find out quintessentially who this person is that you're creating. So this is an old NPC character that I had created for a different game I was running. His name is Antrope the Songbird. Antrope being his first name, the Songbird, a little windy. Songbird kind of being an alias of his. You know, so next to that you see alignment. LG. What is LG? Alignment essentially is what kind of person he is as far as morals go. You know, first one being L, he is lawful, so he likes to follow the laws. You know, if the land dictates that you don't be out past 8 o'clock, well, he's probably not going to be out past 8 o'clock because he likes to follow the law. He doesn't like to break the law. And then the second one there, G, meaning good, he is lawful good. He likes to follow the laws, and he's a good person. Now, what I always have been telling players is this is definitely, in my opinion, a guideline. It is by no means the end-all, be-all who you are. A lawful good character may end up having to kill somebody or breaking the laws given certain circumstances, in my opinion. Some DMs might disagree, but that's their opinion. That's just mine. And then underneath there you can see character level. That is just what levels he has. Now in Pathfinder you're able to multi-class. You know, there are all sorts of classes you can play as, being you know, have him there as a bard or a warrior, you know, being like a barbarian or a fighter maybe, or maybe you want to be a little bit more magical. You can be a wizard or a sorcerer, you know, depending upon what kind of character you're trying to create. You know, so this is just kind of the information section. You can have a little place up there to write what the player's name is. If this particular character has a deity that he follows, you can write that in there as well. Homelands, height, it gives you a nice customized section. So when we're playing a game, I can describe what Anthrope is doing. You know, being a bard, he may have wind getting to us. Being a bard, he may have his flute out, and you know, he's a halfling, he's hanging back in the back of the party, and they can hear something up ahead, so he stops playing his flute. You know, being a shorter person, being a halfling, he doesn't really see what's going on, but he knows something's happening up ahead, so because the group stopped. You know, different things like that. You can just kind of describe what your character's doing. One instance I can kind of give you here. Oh, flip this around. One instance I can kind of give out is in the last session, not the session I'm DMing, but a different session. My character, we came upon a fortress. Our party did, and we got into kind of a battle stance, you know, just kind of a more arrow point line to accept the incoming waves of enemies. They had 12 kind of berserker orcs up in the front line. Behind them they had a taskmaster, you know, somebody cracked the whip to move forward, and they had a drummer behind him, and then they had another set of that behind him, and then two large mountain trolls, as well as a kind of like dragon looking orc. So when we came up to this, you know, we're kind of like, wow, there's 6 of us, we're outnumbered, this is kind of intense, you know, so we don't really want to take this on, but we had no choice to. At one point when they were coming in for an attack, my character, being a magus, we'll get into that later as far as different classes, talking about different classes, you know, again, here at All Things Nerdy, we're introducing new things to everybody here. It may be a game, movie news, or in this case, tabletop gaming. But anyway, Magus was able to land a critical and literally turn one of the approaching enemies into a grenade as he exploded, killing men in the background. So that was one thing I described how my character did that. And you know, as a social event, wow, that was really cool, man. Did you see how you did that? Those guys, you know, we were able to joke around about it and talk about it, and have a good time experiencing a story, a cinematic story, as described by us and our DM. So we'll get more into character sheets later on as I play more with this camera, you know, seeing which way I'm looking here. We'll play more with this camera, see if this is working or not. For now, go ahead and leave us some nerdy love by hitting the like button. Help us promote this channel so we can build a community for all people of different nerdy But again, till next time, stay nerdy, and go ahead and leave me a comment down below. What kind of tabletop games have you played? If you're completely new to it, what kind of questions do you have? I may not be the complete expert, but I can try to answer some questions. Like I said, I'm pretty nerdy when it comes to something, so I have to try and learn it all as quickly as I can. So go ahead and try, ask any questions. We'll see what we can try and turn up for you. But until next time, guys, again, stay nerdy. Have a good one.